In this series, we unpack how Gen Z sells, how buyers have changed, and the strategies that still win today.
Hello, and welcome to our second part of our Sales Rewired series. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about artificial intelligence and modern tools that change prep, outreach, running deals without losing trust. I have to tell you, I feel I found new religion with artificial intelligence. So we have Rob Giuffra with us again, and he's going to share a little bit about how artificial intelligence has helped his role. And so let's talk a little bit, Rob, maybe let's just jump right in here. Walk us through your old workflow versus your current one with artificial intelligence. What got faster and what genuinely got better for you?
Yeah, absolutely, Anna. I'm happy to. I would say, before my workflow was broken down into 3 or 4 steps. I would have research in a couple of tabs open, and I would write all of my emails, my voicemails, and everything would be logged very manually with 3 or 4 or 5 tabs open. Now I use a couple of different AI tools to draft my first cold outreach, as well as summarizing all of my calls that I already have recorded. And what I'm finding is that this AI machine and these AI tools will handle the workload while the sales rep is handling the relationship and kind of fine tuning those messages. So I think it's an important aspect to understand that the AI is going to give you all of the grunt work, and the reps are going to then take that and personalize it and work on the tone. And this is the difference, in my opinion, where you can utilize AI while still sounding like a human who wants to have a real conversation.
Oh, exactly. My goodness, I agree 110%. I think when I started the session here, I said it's like finding new religion. If I go back to when I first started getting into sales, to me doing sales, 10 years ago versus me doing sales today, the evolution is astronomical, right? Going through each of those phases. And the one thing that was amazing to me is prep for I'm meeting an individual. And before, I used to do all these different searches, not only a Google search, but going to different tools and platforms, Zoom Info, and whatever, whatever. There's so many out there to gather as much information as possible. But then now I have tools like ChatGPT, or I have Claude AI, or whatever, Gemini. I mean, there's so many out there that you can use, where it gives you a great executive summary, and it could be as detailed as you want it to be, and it makes you look like you have done so much homework in regards to that one person. I also want to stress the fact that I think you hit the nail on the head when you said AI can do the grunt work for you and do all of the heavy lifting for you, save time so that it gives you enough time to really focus on the relationship and keep that human touch. So great points there. Let's talk a little bit about, looking at account prep. And I've kind of alluded to what I've done for account prep. But if you open your playbook in 10 minutes of prep, what input do you scan and what outputs do you create? Like, what are you looking for as you're trying to prep before a meeting?
When I'm prepping for a meeting, there are basically it's a two loop input and output. So I use all of the big name tools, like you had mentioned. Gemini is one that I'm a big fan of. And on the input side, I scan for three main things. The first one would be signals. So any recent funding, any recent hiring, product launches, etc. The second one is social tone. So what do, what is the decision maker talking about on LinkedIn? What is the organization, right? Where are they trying to head in this new year? And the third is going to be stack clues. So what tools are they already using? Are they using a competitor of ours? Are they even aware of some of the value and the solutions that we can provide for their tech stack? And when I find out all those little bits of information and I put them in on the output side, I try to create a couple of assets. And my favorite one would be to summarize all this information that I've given it and get a one line hypothesis of their current priority. So that may be something along the lines of, hey, I see you're doubling down on X, so you may care about Y. And in my world, this may refer to a new trial. This may refer to a new phase of an existing trial that a small biotech may be entering into. And for me, this is has by far really been a game changer in any sort of warm or cold outreach, because I'm able, to your point, to take all that information that I would spend a lot of time with manually doing and kind of shoot out a 2 or 3 sentence hypothesis on what they're caring about and what might be the most relevant in their world.
That's terrific. And also, I just want to kind of pause for a moment and draw attention that even though you're talking about something that has to do with clinical trials, more of the medical space, everything, every template or methodology or process that you've explained so far is really applicable across all industries, all markets. So therefore, I feel like it's the secret sauce for all salespeople on what they need to do to kind of improve their gaining of market share. Let me kind of shift the conversation a little bit, talking about, running live calls with Assist. Do you use any tools that, help you in that process, either through notes or objection capture? Basically, share with me what you think works best.
Yeah, I'm happy to. I use a real time note capture tool for all of my calls. And this helps with tagging any sort of objections. This helps with a call debrief after the fact. And my rule is, if the tool surfaces a next step, I confirm it out loud before ending the call. And so an example of this may be, thank you for the time. Here's what I heard today, and list some of the pain points that they may have said. We agreed on this next step. I will share you this case study, this artifact, and I'll loop in XYZ. Talk soon. I'll send you times for a demo here. So the whole point is really to use the note capture tool to kind of guide and close up the call. And always, as I've mentioned a little bit earlier on the podcast, kind of closing with a call to action. So the prospect, the customer, they know exactly what's coming in the follow-up email. If there's any information they need, who's going to get looped in, and when the next time we'll be meeting.
Yeah, that's terrific. I mean, I use Otter AI, and I have experience with Firefly, and there's a few other ones out there. I use it also in when I'm working with sales leaders, and they're having meetings they're doing one-on-ones with their team. If I can't be at that meeting because there's multiple sessions going on at the same time, I could go back and listen to that meeting that took place. And then I'm able to sit with the sales leader and give some feedback on what I think went well, what could use some improvement, what are some of the challenges, what to do next. So it really does change your life by having somebody focus on doing the notes for you. The other thing that you mentioned is it organizes you, right? Because now you have a game plan as far as what to do next, as opposed to, I'm going to block out a half an hour so I could write down all these notes. And did she say this or did he say this? And you're trying to piece it all together afterwards. So I think great mentions there. Let's talk a little bit about metrics that predict movement. Are there any metrics that you feel on a weekly basis tells you that a deal is moving? And of course, emails being sent or a call, a message being left, a voice message being left, from my perspective, don't count. So what would be, and if it's not three metrics, it could be two or one, is there a key metric that you feel predicts movement?
Definitely. I would say, and these have changed throughout the years of me kind of developing into my sales career and learning what some of the key indicators are. And one of the biggest ones that I never really paid attention to that I think is very important is the number of new stakeholders added to a deal. And so when I have a conversation with somebody who may be on a manager level, and then we agree that the next steps may be to loop in the C suite, to me, that's going to be a very strong indicator that this conversation is moving. They're having internal conversations about it. And it's something that they care about. Another one that I like to mention that may not hold quite as much value, but artifacts exchanged. So in my industry, we need NDAs for everything. And a lot of times, if we're speaking with somebody and they don't want to move forward with an NDA, they're giving a little bit of a message early on. This could also refer to case studies. If I'm speaking with somebody and they want more information and I'm sending them multiple case studies and industry reports, to me, these are always good signs that the conversation is relevant. They care about what we're doing and it'll move forward.
Excellent. Yes, definitely movement. Communication at a high level would be one of the things that I would talk about. Like, how many live conversations are you having with the client? That can definitely predict some type of movement, unless they're talking to you to say nothing has changed. That's not predicting movement, but definitely that level of communication. So artificial intelligence, right? So we're talking about all the great things that it can do, but artificial intelligence, where does it hurt, right? So the generic tone, we talked a little bit about that. Wrong facts, I've never heard of this until AI came into existence with it hallucinates, and therefore it just creates stuff that's just not real, or odd phrasing. So, what are your two safeguards to make sure that you are not putting forward something that's not going to make it look human?
Yeah, and this is a really, really great point because I am guilty of sending some cold outreach where it was not properly reviewed. And the AI is not perfect, right? So I would say that AI misses nuance. And two safeguards that I use is the first thing is to read everything out loud. If I use my inputs and I draft an email, I'm going to want to read it out loud to see if it still needs any sort of tweaking, if it sounds a little bit too computer or robotic. And the second one is going to be never quote a number that I can't verify. So, an example of this may be AI once drafted me a message and it had said that the prospect had doubled their ARR, and in reality, they hadn't. The AI tool had pulled that information from a couple years prior. So that information was way out the door and it wasn't relevant anymore. And if I wasn't reading that out loud and verifying some of those statistics, you can really fumble a deal and you can look a little bit like a fool. So always read everything out loud before sending and always verify any sort of number, and make sure that whatever you're quoting, you can back that up.
Excellent. And I like the part of reading it out loud, because I think that also makes you pay attention a little bit more as opposed to just reading it to yourself. But the other thing that you can do with AI is you can actually say, quote me the source, so that you want to know if it's giving you a fact and figure, where are you getting this information from? So that it comes back and it says this was from um, SIA's staffing top list of 2025, whatever. Like, it's going to give you the source so that it makes you feel a little bit more comfortable that it's real, as opposed to I made it up, which sometimes it does. Um, Okay, rapid fire. If we were to keep, cut, or automate, I'm going to name a task and then you just rapid fire tell me if you're going to keep it, cut it, or try to automate it, and why in one line. So, prospect list cleanup, very important. What do you think? We keep, cut, or automate?
I'm going to automate that. I think that's one of those manual grunt work items that AI can handle with the proper inputs.
Okay, and creating, inserting a case study.
We are definitely going to keep that. Humans choose relevance, and to me, case studies are a driving resource.
Great. Call recap, which we've kind of talked a little bit about.
Definitely going to keep that as well. Once again, with the proper inputs and with the proper procedures, you can have great call recaps. It can keep you organized and move deals forward.
Terrific. Calendar invite writing. Like, what do you include in a calendar invite?
I would automate that. I think for most calendar invites, you can tailor them and they don't need to be anything over the top. The most important thing is that the invite is sent and accepted. So I would automate that.
Excellent. Great. I think we're both in violent agreement with how to handle each of those tasks. So, our close and call to action for this part of the series is in the comments section. Let's start doing a recap of the same day for every active deal that you have this week. And we can definitely start the conversation through the comments section. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about careers, coaching, and culture. Thank you.